afternoon. Welcome to the Atlantic Union Bank Center at James Madison University as we celebrate an exciting next step for our institution. My name is Kevin Warner. I am the Associate AD for Communications and Strategic Initiatives and happy to lead today's event. It's been a crazy few weeks, right? So much has happened so quickly, but JMU is always ready to answer the call. We were ready to capture our first Sun Belt championship in just 4 years at the FBS level. And we were ready to become the first Sun Belt school and first in Virginia to qualify for the college football playoff. As we prepare for next week's big game at Oregon, we're also excited to jumpstart 2026 and welcome a new era in James Madison football, as today we officially introduce our new head coach of the Dukes, Billy Napier. We'd like to thank everyone gathered for this event, especially representatives of our University Board of Visitors, senior leadership team, community members, and members of our Sun Belt champion JMU football team. We'd also like to welcome others tuning in on ESPN+, Facebook, YouTube, and the JMU radio network WSVA. In a moment, I will welcome our university president, Jim Schmidt, followed by Director of Athletics, Matt Rohn, and then our new head coach, Billy Napier. We will then have a short opportunity for questions from members of the media gathered with us. And now I'd like to welcome JMU President Jim Schmidt.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you, Kevin. Welcome, everyone, to James Madison University. December has been a month of very good news for the JMU Dukes and our football program. And if you'll forgive me, I'll spend a few minutes celebrating our team. You may have heard a little bit about that little victory we had last Friday night against Troy. The championship of the Sun Belt season with a record in the Sun Belt that was undefeated, 8-0, overall record 12-1, and just to put the cherry on top, as you know, the selection into the college football playoffs. There's been a lot of trash talking on the media about JMU. Just bring it on. Just keep underestimating us. Keep talking JMU, 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 JMU. I find it ironic that most of the news is around JMU and then the schools that didn't get in. So all I can say is keep underestimating us and make your plans now for Miami for the Orange Bowl the week after Oregon. My son Andrew commented immediately, it appears, Dad, that we're going to have duck for Christmas. So there we go. I know that I speak for the Director of Athletics, Matt Rohn, and his staff to say how proud we are of our incredible student athletes and how pleased we are that the football program continues to exceed expectations and how grateful we are for our outgoing coach, Bob Chesney, who over the last 2 years has set us on this amazing path to success. Coach Napier and I were talking a little bit in the reception before this event, and he was commenting that we shared another thing in common. We both have walked into an amazing institution, an amazing program, and we have the opportunity to build on the amazing success all those folks who came before us did. Bob, by the way, will continue to lead the Dukes to the conclusion of our playoff run, hopefully long into January, until he leaves for UCLA, and I know he will deliver the same focus, determination, and passion for JMU during his transition that he's provided in the previous 2 years he spent with us. I mentioned earlier that we've had a lot of good news in December, but I also want to share with you now what is truly great news, and that is that today, moving forward, it is a pleasure to welcome to the JMU family Billy Napier as the JMU new head football coach. We are delighted to have Billy and his wife Allie, his 3 children, Annie, Sammy, and Charlie, to become a full part of the greater JMU Duke community. I'd ask them and his family to please stand to receive that warm Duke welcome to Harrisonburg. I'm a strong believer in the power of athletics to transform lives, to unite students, faculty, staff, alumni, and community members, and to galvanize institutional distinction. That is why we conducted a nationwide search to find our next coach, and why Billy Napier was not only the best person we could find, he is absolutely the best fit for JMU. He excels as a student-focused leader, a program visionary, and a man of great integrity. I'll let Matt and Billy share a little bit more of the background on our new coach, but first I want to tell you why Billy's selection is not only the right decision now, but also great news for JMU's future. When Billy learned that we are considering him as our next coach, he did what I did. When I explored the presidency only a year ago. After interviews and meetings in Florida, he told me he woke up Thursday morning at 4:30 and decided to go jump on a plane. And he decided to make a secret shopper trip to see us firsthand last Thursday. As I understand, he called Matt and said, "I'm coming over the mountain." And Matt said, "Which mountain?" "The one just outside of Harrisonburg," he said. And he had an opportunity to check to see exactly what Harrisonburg had to offer and what the potential was for JMU. And what I've learned after talking to him, we snuck him into the press box and we spent another 45 minutes to an hour talking about the vision for the program and the university. He remarked that JMU exceeds even his wildest expectations and has made even the rumors of greatness seem to pale by what he experienced. I liked that Billy wanted to check us out, but I was even more impressed by why he did it. Yes, he wanted to tour the campus and the stadium, but what really impressed me was that Billy's secret shopper trip was he wanted to make sure that this was the campus and the community that he and his family could truly make their home. That is not only just this place, and coaching the football, a place where he could be a part of a thriving community, a community that knows how to work together, celebrate together, and has a vision for a bold future. He wanted to make sure that there was a place for a coach who wanted to roll up his sleeves and help create a new vision for higher education and to be a partner. And that's exactly what he found at JMU. While we will love our football as Dukes, we're also going to build a championship team for this country. JMU is also much more than that. We are a university that's daring to redefine what education looks like and feels like. We are a community united in our commitment to each other, to learning, and to make it possible for every student to thrive and succeed. And we will accept nothing less but the best in all that we do. And in Billy, I believe that we have found the best for JMU. Let me tell you 3 additional reasons why I believe Billy is great for JMU. Reason 1, commitment to our student athletes. Billy is known as a player's coach. He is dedicated to bringing out the best in his players, helping to empower them as athletes, leaders, and principled men. I consider his success in raising the University of Florida's football program GPA to the highest in history and a record in the SEC as just as important as his league championships he had in the Sun Belt. I expect that he will bring that same holistic winning approach to JMU. Reason 2, Billy is a dynamic leader, one who is a great fit for our strong leadership team. We have an amazing team that helps support not only athletics, academics, the student experiences, and has the full support of our administrative offices. He brings integrity, relentless energy, and commitment to inspiring the best in his student athletes and in everyone he meets. We need that leadership as we embark on taking JMU to even greater heights in the months and years to come. Reason 3, Billy has a vision that we share. Over the past several years, JMU has become a growing powerhouse, ready to take on the mantle of national leadership, not only in athletics, but in the academy, and our reputation for how we are blazing a new path for success in higher education. I know that Billy is as eager as we are to help our program and our university accelerate our trajectory forward as a championship team and a championship university. And I, for one, am looking forward to the ride. In short, I couldn't be more excited to welcome Billy and his family to JMU. Welcome to a university that is on the move, is growing, challenging ourselves, and unafraid to set big goals and have audacious expectations. Billy, we have important work to do. I look forward to a lot more good news from Duke football and JMU in the months and years to come. And for now, I'm going to call on your boss, Matt Rohn, our Director of Athletics, to provide his remarks.
Just slightly. Well, good afternoon. Certainly thank you, President Jim. And I was looking around, and this crowd feels a lot like the one that was here to welcome me about 2 years ago. Maybe only slightly larger and more enthusiastic, but we appreciate your interest, and obviously you understand the reason that we're here. Certainly an exciting day for JMU. JMU Athletics, our football program, as we officially introduce Billy Napier as the 10th head football coach of an incredibly proud program. Again, I want to thank President Jim. I want to thank our rector, Suzanne Obenchain, our athletics committee chair, Dave Rexroad, all the members of our board of visitors, our division heads who are here, for the role each of you play in making this place better at all times, but especially over these past several weeks. Our alignment and your appreciation of the value of athletics is truly uncommon. I'd also like to thank the fans and investors who are here with us today for the role they play in continuing to make our program better every single day. You are differentiators. You are vital parts of the continued upward trajectory of our football program and our athletics department. Now also add that you are exceptional at tracking planes. But like the president, I would be remiss, and so I also want to make sure that I acknowledge Coach Chesney for the job that he has done the past 2 seasons, and I want to congratulate him, our current staff, our student athletes, on that college football playoff, on that conference championship. And think about that just for a moment, right? JMU and CFP in the same sentence. But I do believe it was our positive working relationship, especially the transparency that we've shared over the past 2 months, that allowed us to make strategic investments in positions in the program that keep us moving forward and to run, again, what I believe was the most efficient and effective search that we possibly could have, which again keeps us on a path to get back to the point of CFP, not once, but year after year, right? That's the mark of a true football program. I certainly want to thank Mallory for all of her support through the search and the fact that she bought me this purple coat. But the night that I got back from Gainesville, of course, I'm wide awake and I'm reading every single article on this guy. I realized that I hadn't spoke to her for about 2 hours since I actually walked in the house. And I only realized that because we were lying in bed and she rolled over away from me pretty aggressively. And so realizing what I had done, I apologized, to which she replied, "Don't worry, the kids and I are going to have a great Christmas this year." I dread seeing the damage that that woman can do. But making the trip with me last week was Roger Sankson and Cliff Wood. We obviously had a phenomenal conversation in the Napier's home. We had the chance to meet Allie. We had the chance to meet their 3 beautiful kids. And to again echo the president, we're so happy that the 5 of you now call this place home. But we left there knowing that we had found the right fit. You know, understanding where we were, we really couldn't say anything in the Uber on the way back to the FBO, and it's probably a good thing that we didn't, because I think our Uber driver almost killed us a few times approaching some red lights pretty quickly, but we were giving each other looks. But as soon as we got to the plane, it all started coming out. And Allie, please know the very first thing that we said was we had instant regret for not eating the fresh fruit and the macaroons that you had laid out for us there. But aside from that, we knew that Coach Napier was the best coach for this program at this point in time. He presented an impressive level of detail in terms of his staffing plan, his plan for talent management. He wants to score a lot of points. He wants to be a physical, aggressive defensive team. But he presented a plan where others said, I think, Billy could say, this is tried and true. He's a proven winner with an impressive pedigree. He's an amazing recruiter and a retainer of talent. And most importantly, he stands for the right things. He understands what a modern, CFP-relevant year-after-year program must possess annually. He quarterbacked an FCS runner-up, who also happened to wear purple. His teams have played for 4 Sun Belt Conference championships. He's won 2. He's beat teams like Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Iowa State. Led better than he found it. He's a football coach with an unbelievable fire in his belly to prove himself right and not just prove other people wrong. And most importantly, he cares for the student athletes he coaches and the staff that he's going to put together. And now he's a Duke. And I'll finish with a personal story. So in 2008, I was an assistant postgraduate football coach at Hargrave Military Academy, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next in my life. And in that role, I was fortunate to coach some outstanding, incredibly talented young men who were recruited by the best programs in America. I met 2 assistants that fall who came to see a couple of offensive tackles that I had the privilege to work with. And one was a wide receivers coach and recruiting coordinator on the Alabama staff, and his name was Kurt Signetti. The other was a tight ends coach and recruiting coordinator at Clemson, and you guessed it, that was Billy Napier. Both of those guys left an incredible mark on me in how they communicated, how they recruited, how smart they were about the game of football, how they carried themselves, their passion for the people that they were working with. And since that time, I have watched Billy enjoy record-breaking levels of success as an offensive coordinator at Clemson, be twice hired to coach Saban's staff at Alabama, be a successful offensive coordinator in the Pac-12, and of course, do what he did at Louisiana and Florida. I am so excited he was available at this point of JMU football's incredible trajectory. JMU Nation, we got our guy. It is now my pleasure to invite to the podium the next great head football coach at James Madison University, Coach Billy Napier.
All right, we can just take a knee after those two speeches there. I think I heard President Jim say we're going to have duck for Christmas. Did I hear that right? You know, we moved this press conference to Wednesday, and we didn't anticipate all that's happened here in the last couple of days, but we moved the press conference because my son, Sammy, had his school play Tuesday night. Sammy, and he stole the show. He had about 70 lines, and there was no way I was missing that. So, you know, I'm fortunate to have my family here. You know, I'm a firm believer that life is about people, and there's no more important people than your family. My wife, Allie, is here. We've been married 17 years. I knew her 8 years before we got married. I finally got to a position where I had enough money to ask her to marry me. So we're approaching 25 years together, and I'm very thankful for her. There's a special place in heaven for a coach's wife, and she is selfless. She's a great leader. She's done an incredible job with our children, and I certainly wouldn't be here today without her, so I'm very thankful for Allie. My daughter, Annie Jo, yeah, give her a round of applause. Annie Jo is 13 years old, and she's in the theater. She plays volleyball. Charlie's here. He's 9. I joke around that Sammy's going to be a quarterback. I think Charlie might be a linebacker, okay? So, you know, we're very thankful for the welcome that we've received. You know, I think they call Harrisonburg the friendly city. And I came up here Thursday and experienced that myself. And we're so appreciative. I've made numerous calls before taking this job, and every call, people that have played here, people that have coached here, they just raved about their experience, the community, the people, the quality of life, and that certainly has proved to be true. I've got a lot of family back home that's watching, my mom, my 2 brothers, my sister. Certainly, the game of football is about people, and that's what makes it special. You know, I'd like to thank Matt Rohn and President Jim Schmidt. Special leadership. I've been fortunate to be through a couple different processes like this. I'm grateful for their belief, trust, and confidence in our plan. This was a first-class process. I've done this many times, and throughout the search, the professionalism stood out. Very obvious that there is a plan, there's a vision, there's alignment, there's resources, there's a commitment to follow through. And reality is, I was in a position to be very selective, but it was very evident the more research that we did. This was an incredible opportunity at a prestigious university, and in my opinion, the top group of 6 football program in the entire country. I met with the players today, and you can sense there's an established culture here. There's a mindset. There's an expectation to win. There's a confidence. In that group, you could just be in the room with the players today, and you could see that in their eyes. And this team has been incredible to watch. I've had an opportunity to watch the film. I've watched them play on TV. It's very evident there is leadership here, there is a plan here, and there is execution here. You know, I'd like to commend Coach Chesney and the 2025 team. I respect the brand of football. This is a tough team. There's detail. They play extremely hard. The effort jumps off the tape. They attack. Most importantly, they're a team. You see them interact with each other. You see the chemistry. You see the relationships. It's incredible to watch. I'm excited to watch them work as they prepare for the college football playoff. How about that? You know, this place continues to make history. and it's our job to continue that. It's in the DNA here. The great players that have played here that created what we have experienced as of late. Some of the great coaches that we've always looked up to: Mickey Matthews, Everett Withers, Mike Houston, Kurt Signetti, Bob Chesney. And all of that was earned. It wasn't given. I love places like this. There's an underdog mentality. There's a chip on the shoulder. There's always something to prove. And certainly my career has been very much the same. We will never forget, okay? I want you to think about this. We will never forget where we were at, okay? Watching the college football playoff selection, okay? And they get to the 12th seed, and that purple and gold JMU logo popped up on that screen, okay? And I can tell you right now, those two boys right there and me, all right, we raced home from church, all right? Church broke out at 12. All right, we got it on ESPN radio, and we're getting in position at 12:20, but we went crazy in that living room, okay? Why did we do that? Because we know what that meant to the university. We know what that meant to this athletic department, and certainly the football program going forward. You know, I embrace expectations. That's the intrigue here about this job. You know, I accept the challenge. We're going to take an approach here where we develop the person, the student, and the football player. We're going to teach values. We're going to prioritize education, and we're going to teach football at a high level. Our goal is to build an organization that will have life-changing impact on the player. It's going to be a habit-building environment. There will be structure. There will be a detailed plan. We will sleep, eat, train, learn, practice, communicate, phase by phase, and we will play complementary football. We're going to attack the turnover margin. We're going to create explosive plays. We're going to dominate red zone scoring. We're going to control hidden yardage in the kicking game, and we're going to be situation experts and be a smart football team. That will require a daily process. We'll be consumed with improvement, and that is not just the players. That's every member of the organization from top to bottom. You know, I love football. I still believe in the game of football. I believe in what it can teach young people. I believe in what it can teach society. I'm a son of a high school coach. I watched my dad impact generation after generation in a small town in northwest Georgia. We use the term "be the difference" in our organization. And that is talking to every player and every person in the organization, realizing that their role could be the difference. But more importantly, our program, our team, the game of football can be the difference in so many young people's lives. There's a lot of young men that we've had an opportunity to coach throughout the years, that the game has been truly the difference. You know, where we're at, currently, we need to maximize the momentum that we have. We need to take full advantage of these opportunities that come with the college football playoff as a university, as an athletic department, and certainly as a football program. The next 90 days will be critical. We will be focused on building relationships with the returning players. We will be trying to retain as many players as possible. We're going to build a staff. I'm fortunate today to have Jacob LaFrance with me. He is the Associate AD for Player Personnel. Jacob will be our right-hand man in the evaluation and recruitment process. Jacob's been with me for 7 years, 3 years at Louisiana and 4 years at Florida, and he is truly one of the best in the profession. We are going to evaluate and recruit, and we're going to begin developing the identity of the 2026 team when we get to February. This will be a team effort, okay? And I can already tell by sitting in here, we got a pretty good team, okay? Regardless of the players, okay? You guys are truly a part of the team. Our fans, our alumni, our investors, any and everybody that loves this place has a role. And I'm excited about being involved in the Harrisonburg community. I'm excited about getting to know each one of you, and it's our job to continue and accept the challenge of this football program going forward. Thank you, guys. Go Dukes.
All right, we will now open to members of the media here for a short Q&A session. Please direct your question to Matt Rohn, Billy Napier, or President Schmidt. And we have a few mic passers. Raise your hand, introduce yourself, and address your question. So we'll open it up to any questions from the media.
Hey, Coach, congratulations. Mike Barber from the Associated Press. You mentioned there were other options out there. What was the process like of kind of narrowing down and finally getting to James Madison?
So obviously there's a timeline there. I would say it was a couple weeks. We started the process with an initial Zoom, and immediately the leadership caught my eye. I think the alignment ultimately, as football coaches, we all know that there has to be alignment at the university level between the university and the athletic department. And there was dynamic leadership, Matt, and President Jim, and really the athletic department as a whole, and a number of people that I met along the way. So that part stood out. And I would tell you, just phone call after phone call about this place. People that I know and trust just raved about their experience here. They didn't want to leave. They could have stayed here forever. And for me, the timing was really important with my kids and their ages. So the leadership, the alignment, obviously the resources that we have. And look, the fun's in the winning, right? And I think that this is truly a great opportunity and an incredible challenge, but we embrace that.
Katie Harper with the Daily News Record. And Matt, kind of going off of that one, for you guys, what was this process like on your end, especially with the turnaround, with kind of everything that was going on with the championship game and Coach Chesney?
Yeah, so, Billy talked about it a little bit, and I shared kind of with you in my remarks. As jobs started to present themselves throughout the off-season, or throughout the season, rather, my ability to communicate very honestly with Coach Chesney was important, and understanding that there would be many suitors, and some suitors that made more sense than others available to him. That allowed me to really start to get to work building the list, right, so to speak. Your list is only as good as your ability to revise it. What's available, right? Sitting until October, Billy wasn't available. And so as we went through that process, we kind of huddled up as an internal committee probably no more than about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. We met on the Sunday before Thanksgiving as a group to say, hey, here's the people that we want to Zoom with. I think we huddled up with Billy on Zoom the day after Thanksgiving while he was with his family. And then we go catch a flight to Conway, South Carolina for a game, right? And then it was last Tuesday, we were on a flight to Gainesville. And so that really kind of is the timeline, but it was the traits, the characteristics, the experiences that guided us throughout that entire process that led to the result today.
Hayden Hunley, Bridgeport Breakdown. Congrats, Coach. You mentioned all the success JMU has had in the past. What are the intricacies to your game plan of going into an institution that's had so much success while putting your own spin on it?
Well, you sell the tradition. I'm going to spend extensive time with some of these coaches that have been here in the past. I think you ask a lot of questions. I think there's clues. Success leaves behind clues, right? So I think really doing a deep dive into the program, the history there, what has led to the success. I do think the game has changed, right? FCS, group of 5, group of 6 now. You throw rev share into the mix. You throw one transfer portal into the mix. So college football has been very fluid, and I think it's important to have an understanding of the market, but I think we can learn from some of the best coaches in college football that have been here, So as we settle down a little bit here, I think that's part of the plan. I'm excited about watching the team work. I'm excited about watching the staff work. to get a feel for their process, right? So, you know, you've had some of the best coaches in college football history here, right, as of late. So I'm an old FCS quarterback at Furman University, right? So James Madison, I got teammates that are Furman Paladins that hate James Madison. So they talk about that playoff game on the road down there when James Madison, I think, played on the road every week, right? So I'm a football guy. I've been tracking this place for a long time. And ultimately, that's why I got on the plane. You know, I wanted to come see it myself. Success leaves behind clues. We have our plan, but we're certainly not going to force that here. We're going to try to learn and adjust from what's been successful. And these teams are 1 year at a time. We're getting ready to, these next 90 days are going to be an adventure, right? So success leaves behind clues. That's what I would say. I'm going to go try to learn from these guys that have had success here.
Congratulations, Preston Comer with The Breeze. When the official announcement first came out, you went to social media and posted a pretty famous Bill Walsh quote about how important culture is to a football program. What does that quote mean to you, and why does that ring true of JMU?
Well, I think it's a big picture look at our program. I think, you know, it's really talking about the integrity that we want to operate with, the core values that we want to live out. And certainly, I'm a firm believer that better people make better football players. And I think good football teams have leadership. They have guys that have character that set a great example. And you behave like a champion before you become a champion. This team this year is a great example of that, right? Just to watch them interact with each other, the relationship that they have. Ultimately, that's what the game of football is about, right? So, to me, that quote has been a part of our program. I've always pinned it on social media, and I hope the players read it, and I hope that anybody that pulls up our account reads it, and I hope it's what we stand for going forward.
Hey, Coach, over here. Jarvis Heron with WHSV here in Harrisonburg. Having already had a successful stint in the Sun Belt like you have, how much does that give you an advantage now that you're back in the Sun Belt?
Yeah, I think my experience at this level of football, even Colorado State that year with Jim McElwain was critical because when I got to Louisiana, I had a little bit of a feel. We made some mistakes there in the first year. But yeah, 4 years of building a program at this level, what it's like to evaluate, to recruit, to develop players. Obviously, the transfer portal is a new hurdle. But we want to build a program here built off high school players initially. We want them to start here, finish here, and come back here. Much like a lot of you guys, that's one of the reasons why you're here now, right? Is how this place impacted you, the experiences that you had here, the people that you met. This place changed your life, and that's why you're passionate about the university and the sports team. So we want that type of program. We do understand that if a player, grows into an incredible talent, he may have opportunities. But we'll hit that head on, and we'll use the portal when we have to. So I do think that ultimately that's the plan.
Hey, Shane Matlin from the Daily News Record. Given that Bob's going to stay on and coach the team as long as they're playing, how much of a head start do you get on roster retention, looking at guys who are going to put their name in the portal elsewhere, and looking at they've signed a pretty robust high school class given the situation with the coaching turnover?
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons. I think ultimately, number one, you're in the college football playoff and the team is practicing. You get a chance to observe and evaluate the players. I do think that you got incredible momentum as a result of that. So the negative would be that the logistics, right, of them occupying the facility while we're hiring staff. But we'll take the positives here, right? So I'm excited about learning from Coach Chesney. picking his brain, observing his practices, getting to know our players. But certainly, I think there's advantages here, and we look forward to it. And look, I hope there's transparency here about, who's staying, who's going. We need to know that. We need to address that in the transfer portal in January. But we look forward to it.
Coach, you mentioned you've been a head coach obviously in the past. What goes into building that staff that process that you're kind of in right now?
Yeah, it's the most important thing you do as a leader is surround yourself with really good people. I think every hire, the game changes a little bit. I think you're looking for complementary skill sets, different personalities, different leadership traits. Recruiting area contacts is important, but number one, we're looking for people that care about the players, that are experts at what they do. And it's part of talent. It's the talent, just like the players. I think the staff is the talent as well. So we've got the resources to hire an incredible staff. That's what we plan to do. We've already made a few hires, and we'll speed that process up over the next couple of weeks.
Anything else? All right. Once again, thank you everybody for coming out today. We'll have a short opportunity for some one-on-one media. Thank you.
Pretty friendly crowd.
Oh, man. President Jim, you're a talented guy, man.